This is my review of Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. Okay, so this episode introduces us to Anubis, a stand that is interesting to me because it doesn't have a stand user. So, interestingly enough, the stand Anubis doesn't have a stand user for reasons that are explained later in the episode. But it is interesting that some stands just don't have stand users, because Anubis is one of the first exceptions of this, of the stand not having a stand user, and it's possible that there will be other stands down the line that also won't have stand users, but it is interesting to know that Anubis is the first of possibly many. But yeah, the Joestar Group, minus Cat going because his eyes are still recovering, go into town to try and find some travel to where Dio is. And notably, while they're doing that, a trading caravan actually is wandering through the desert when they come across a peculiar sword, which is later revealed to be Anubis' true form, and the youngest member, Chaka, picks it up. Chaka is not treated well by his peers and even his own father, and notably they keep the sword away from him after he discovers it and try to open it themselves, but it quickly becomes apparent that this sword is in fact a stand because they can't open it, and even then they manage to somehow cut themselves on the blade of the sword, well, even though it's not actually able to be cuttable. So that should be red flag number one, that this sword is magic in some way, and notably maybe a stand in disguise. At which point, after trying, they eventually give up, and Chaka decides to give it a go. And when he successfully opens it, everybody's surprised and try to take it from him. But then he accidentally kills two people with it and tries to pick it back up to try and help his father. But notably, Anubis starts speaking to him, pointing out that he will be a master swordsman and that it wants him to do his bidding and kill the Joestar Group. So notably, Chaka begins to transform into a demented version of himself, having been fully possessed by Anubis, and then cuts down the remaining member of their caravan before going to find the Joestar Group. Meanwhile, Polnareff, who got separated from the rest of the Joestar Group, winds up in a old Egyptian site after chasing after Iggy when the latter stole some gum. At which point he encounters Chaka and Anubis, and after realizing how Chaka's stand works, but after realizing how Anubis works, Polnareff is easily able to defeat Chaka by using a secret technique to impale one of his rapiers into the side of Chaka's neck, and also figures out in the process that it can actually cut through solid matter, as well as cutting them cleanly through. So, yeah, Anubis is notably a very powerful stand because it's able to just cut through solid objects with relative ease to only attack the thing it wants to cut. But when after defeating Chaka, Polnareff picks up the sword and he unsheathes it for just a little bit until Iggy leads the rest of the Joestar Group to him and he puts the sword away. At which point he picks it up after some rats try to steal it, and notably realizes that they need to return it into the police because it's still a very dangerous weapon, and who knows what would happen if somebody else picked it up. And Polnareff and Jojo decide to go right away because Iggy has picked up on the fact that the sword is a stand. He's picked up on the fact that the sword has a stand in it, and notably won't shut up about it. Constantly barking at it, and just overall being a dog. He's just very adamant on this thing is bad, get rid of it as soon as possible. At which point Polnareff and Jojo decide to take it to the police station, but decide to take a detour to the haircut salon because Polnareff needed a haircut. So yeah, he needed a haircut and a shave, but when the barber's razor winds up being dull, he asks him to go sharpen it, and also asks him to take the sword with him while he's at it. He's pointing out that they need to keep it somewhere safe, and until the haircut is over, they need to just keep it out of harm's way. But then Polnareff is thrown for a loop when the barber comes back, and attempts to cut his head off with Anubis, at which point he realizes that Anubis is in fact a stand, and is in fact the sword, not being controlled by the person, but rather the other way around. So, yeah, now they know that Anubis is in fact a stand. They know that it can possess people because there have been 2 people who have attacked them now, and the barber ultimately just wound up being the latest victim of Anubis. And it begs the question of how many times he's done this and who actually wound up creating Anubis. Because I can't imagine Anubis is a natural phenomenon. I can't imagine Anubis came into the world naturally. Obviously, somebody created Anubis and bound a stand to it. So I'm pretty sure Anubis was artificially created as a stand. Or at the very least, the stand previously existed and then was bound to the sword afterward. But either way, Anubis seems like it's been around for a while. But who knows who created it or when? That's the big mystery to take away. It is a dangerous stand, but who created this stand in the first place? And who did the stand originally belong to that it is now bound to a sword and rather than its user? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they actually manage to explain that mystery, while also making it clear that this stand may be hard to defeat because it can just change users whenever it wants. So who knows how this is going to play out for the second half of this? Yes, second half, because this season has a lot of part 2s and part 3s. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the second half. But, yeah, that's my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. If you enjoyed, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Also, if you did enjoy the video in general, then just be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks that are my way of saying thanks. So be sure to check those out in the description below. Again, it's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, so help support me, and I'll help support you guys in turn. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!